6 past the hour with the midterms in the rear view. President Biden is pivoting to foreign policy. He's on his way to Egypt this morning, the first stop on a 3-country trip that will conclude with a face-to-face meeting with China's president. That will happen on Monday at the G20 summit in Indonesia. It will be their first in-person meeting since Biden took office. Joining us now from Cambodia, where President Biden will be tomorrow, the host of Way Too Early, White House Bureau Chief at Politico, Jonathan Lemire. Jonathan, what can we expect the president will hope to accomplish out of this meeting? And certainly he arrives now on foreign soil a lot stronger and more emboldened than he was before the midterms, when everyone thought it would be a huge red wave.
Yeah, he's got a jam-packed itinerary, Mika. When he lands in Egypt, that's for a major climate change conference. He's going to deliver a speech there later today, and then he's right back, Air Force One, right back in the skies to head here to Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia, where he'll participate in a pair of the Asian state summits, Pacific Ocean state summits over the next 2 days before then the main event, the G20 in Bali, Indonesia. We've gotten word President Putin of Russia skipping it, perhaps not wanting to go after suffering yet another humiliation on the battlefield. But Xi Jinping, the leader of China, will be there, and there's a lot on the agenda for that meeting, much anticipated, 2 years in the making, this meeting. Economic relations, of course, but also expect President Biden to deliver a message of warning about China aggression to Taiwan. But he's got to tread delicately because he wants Xi Jinping's help on a number of issues, including further isolating Putin, as well as potentially Kim Jong-un of North Korea, who has ramped up his rocket tests in recent weeks.
Katty Kay.
Yeah, if they are going to meet for the first time face-to-face, I mean, there's obviously all of the COVID policy, but my understanding, Jonathan, is that there's been almost no communication, bilateral communication between the Americans and the Chinese for the last 2 years. What's the number one thing that they need to try and sort out? What is it most urgent? Is it Taiwan? Is it trade? What's the sticking point?
Short answer, Katty, is all of the above. And you're right. There's been a total breakdown of communications after Speaker Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. China stopped talking to the U.S. entirely for a stretch. Those conversations only revived to plan this particular meeting. Xi Jinping and President Biden have spoken a couple of times on the phone, not often. They did have a bit of a relationship when Biden was vice president, and Xi Jinping had a secondary role in his government as well. So they have met before, but the stakes, of course, much higher now. Trade policy, certainly big. Taiwan, huge as well, including to push China to continue to not help out Russia too much with their war. And it should be underscored here to how Mika brought in this segment. The president comes here emboldened with a much better than expected midterms for his party, in one that he put democracy on the ballot. And it would have been difficult, White House aides have been telling me, for him to make that argument at home, have a lot of big lie candidates win, and then come here overseas and look these leaders in the faces and say, look, American democracy is working. It's much easier for him to do that now because so many of the significant election deniers lost, and because Donald Trump appears weakened, because so many of these allies overseas have been so worried about a possible Trump return in 2024.
Jonathan Lemire reporting for us from Cambodia. Thank you. And Willie, to Jonathan's point, the president was very happy after the midterms. And a lot of members of the media, but also analysts, were like, you know, he's focused on democracy. It's too philosophical. He's focused on abortion. That's not what's polling. That's what he focused on. And once again, underestimated Joe Biden. That's what turned out was important to people.
Yeah, he was being lectured right up on Election Day.
It even happened here. There was a concern. We got to talk about crime. And Joe said you need to talk about everything.
Yeah.
But I definitely heard a lot of voices saying the president's so focused on democracy. He's so focused on abortion. Yes, he had his finger on the pulse, and it turned out to be right. And a lot of the polling didn't.
Yeah. Abortion, Pennsylvania, Michigan, #1 issue, in fact, by wide margins. So he was right about that, at least. Knew the